Here we are in October 2024, and we're visiting the Sakae River in Uthai, Thani province, which is about 3.5 hours north of Bangkok. And here we're visiting the market. And this is on a very nice, actually, stone platform, very permanent and designed to withstand flood stage of the river. This is on the bank of the river. And as you can see, this is the ideal place to set up a outdoor market. And of course, these people come here and do this every day. Now,
I see that.
this river, this Sagae River, is a tributary of the Chao Phraya River, which is the main river that flows through Bangkok, Thailand. Now, this smaller river originates in Mae Wong National Park, and that is in the Nakhon Sawan province. It's about 225 kilometers long, with most of its length in the Uthai Thani province. Now, as you can see, this is quite an extensive open market, and many people do their daily shopping here. And there we see the footbridge that goes across the river. And as you can see, they have quite an elaborate concrete stone embankment there at the river, and the river is at flood stage. So it's been a rather wet season up north, and it causes that river to swell. And certainly quite an array of beautiful buildings. And there we see the vegetation, and some of that vegetation is floating vegetation. There is washed down from up north. Now, many people of this province use this river to grow pandanus. And pandanus is a type of palm. And they also raise fish in floating baskets, which is the primary occupation of some of the people in this province. Now here we're walking along, and we see that those platforms that are out in the river, those are floating platforms, so they go up and down with the level of the river. Quite beautiful. It's a little warm today, and here in October, we're still at the tail end of the monsoon. And here in Thailand, that monsoon gets its start there in May, June, then through July, August, September, October. It's not unusual to get 12 inches of rain in 24 hours. Very common. Now this is a clear day today, and we certainly see that they're well prepared, and that this river, I'm going to call it platform or embankment, has been here for a long time and was designed very well. Now, one thing that they do in Thailand is that you buy fish food and you feed the fish. Now, this actually has kind of a Buddhist spiritual ramification here, because here I am kind of atoning for sin by feeding the fish, and these fish, you notice there's nobody out there trying to catch them, because that's very frowned upon. You do not bother these fish. Now, this is open river, so these fish are free to travel anywhere they want to go. And the water is very murky.
Be careful with the water.
Quite muddy.
Oh, there.
But as you can see, somebody's been waiting right there. And as we'll see in a moment, many of these fish are very large, and they've been there for a long time. And what do we have? We have a type of fish that's called a suwai, and
Oh, they're waiting.
they kind of look like a catfish. Okay, here we are. This is October 16th, 2024. Here we are at one of the major rivers here in Thailand. We're north of Bangkok. And this is open river. And the river is at flood stage. And here I have fish food, and we're feeding the local fish. And as you can see, there's a huge collection of small and large fish. We notice the catfish. And again, this is open river. So this fish know this is where they get fed, so they're not far away. And as you can see, those catfish are good size.
Okay, good.
Well, as you can see, there's quite a flurry there. Those fish are looking to be fed. And this is commercial fish food, and we buy it there at the market. There's several vendors, actually lots of vendors that are selling fish food all along the bank. And they have different types. This is commercial fish food. This is probably the best thing for these fish. But they do have rice puffs, and they do have sliced white bread. So you can kind of take your pick. And these fish, they eat all the fish food very energetically. I do notice, though, is that especially on a Sunday when they're really getting fed, they kind of leave the rice puffs. They lose interest in the rice puffs. But the commercial fish food, they seem to really like that. So nobody's out there trying to catch them. You don't see anybody on the bank with fishing poles.
It's really big. Oh, that's
No,
a swai
they
fish.
don't do that here in Thailand.
Swai, that's a swai.
Now they do raise these catfish on catfish farms, and they do have basket fish there in the river where they're raising fish in baskets. But these catfish, no, they're reserved for, I guess, recreation, where you feed the fish. And of course, the vendors that provide the fish food, they're certainly happy to do that. And as you can see, some of these catfish are good size. I mean, they're big. This is kind of an interesting thing. By throwing the food into the vegetation, it causes them to come up to the surface and kind of struggle for it. So you get a good idea of what they look like and how big they really are. That water's so murky. All right, here we are. We're heading back. And as you can see, this is quite a lovely, how should I say it? This is a concrete embankment. It has stairways and a railing and a path that goes along the river. It has to be good and strong because that river goes up and down, and it can be very high and move rather quickly. We see the manicured lawns. And there we see the buildings. Now, some of these buildings are actually markets. So you go in, and of course you're covered, but this is dried fish. This is one of the popular items here.